Part 3. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 21. Chapter 21 Hypnosis. As a teacher, timely home visits are necessary for the physical and mental health of students. Wen Xiao, go visit your uncle's home. Only a ghost can believe it. Does your student know that you want to visit her home? Home, visit. Fen Ling looked at the well-dressed beast in front of her and twitched her mouth fiercely. Wearing a suit for a home visit? She believed him. Ye King Han nodded. You can also think that I am here to care about the students. Fen Ling, haha, it's not necessary. Ye King Han seemed to have gotten used to Fen Ling's indifference. She sat opposite Fen Ling and poured herself a glass of juice. Sit down, you're welcome. Fen Ling gritted her teeth. This is the Su family. Su family. She is the master no matter what. What on earth do you want to do? Fen Ling's whole body was full of alertness, and every hair on his body was on alert. The girl's vigilance made Ye King Han feel inexplicably uncomfortable. But he didn't know why, so he quickly put it behind him and smiled like an old fox. The teacher only cares about the students. Why is Mr. Feng so nervous? Who is it? Does Mr. Feng have any hidden secrets here? Ye King Han pointed to his heart, and under Fen Ling's gaze, he slowly said, for example, 0. Fen Ling's pupils shrank sharply. I don't understand what you are talking about. No, you understand, Ye King Han said calmly. Tell me, what is your relationship with Ling? The man's voice is low and silky, like a cello in the evening, leading people slowly into dreams. In front of him, the girl's sincere black eyes gradually lost focus. You know Ling, right? The hypnosis took effect. Ye King Han smiled with satisfaction and continued to deepen the hypnosis. Fen Ling was in a daze, feeling a voice knocking at the door of her heart, and the chains that had been sealed for a long time were being opened little by little with a brand new lock. That familiar yet unfamiliar feeling is really, very similar to when she hypnotizes others. Fen Ling's face turned dark. She had been hypnotizing others for so many years. This was the first time she had been hypnotized by others. The corners of his lips curved into a dangerous arc. Yes, I know you. Tell me, who is she, what is her name, and where is she? He is a teacher from Lingyang High School. His name is Ye Qing, and he is in front of me. After saying this, Fen Ling completely broke away from Ye King Han's hypnosis. She looked at him angrily. Ye Qing, which school rule allows you to use hypnosis on your students? Just now, if she hadn't gone through many hypnosis trainings before, the vest that she had hidden for so long would have been exposed to the public. What a shame. Ye King Han was a little surprised. His hypnosis technique ranked first in the international rankings and he had never failed. Today, he fell into the hands of a little girl. Ye Qing smiled coldly, not at all ashamed of being exposed. There is no school rule that stipulates that teachers are not allowed to use hypnosis on their students. Little girl, you are the first one to escape from my hands. Paradox. Fen Ling choked him, picked up a glass of ice drink and drank it down in one gulp, trying to extinguish her anger. Ye Qing, I don't know anyone, I'm just an ordinary senior high school student, you don't have to waste your efforts on me. Ye King Han nodded. Yeah, okay. Then you still won't leave. As I said, it's a home visit. Classmate Fen. Ye King Han squinted and smiled. Fen Ling, yes, it's in vain. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 22. Chapter 22. Can you understand something? Mr. Su and Mrs. Du have already arrived. Feng Shuang and Su Zioxi are sitting beside the two old people to accompany them. Inadvertently, Feng Shuang saw Fen Ling sitting with Ye King Han. She couldn't hear the quarrel between Fen Ling and Ye King Han. From her perspective, she only felt that Fen Ling was flirting with a male teacher. Feng Shuang showed disdain on her face. It didn't matter that she was good looking. Not only could she only rely on men, she was also a poor teacher. I heard that Shuang is preparing for the joint entrance examination recently. Su Rong looked lovingly at the little niece beside him. His niece is the pride of their Su family. She has become famous in the singing world at a young age, and her grades in school are also among the best. Feng Shuang nodded. Yes, Grandpa, this joint entrance examination is very important to the school, and I can't hold the school back. When Tian Hui saw Su Rong mentioning Feng Shuang, she hurriedly said, Yes, Dad, Shuang has been very busy recently. She has to prepare for the joint entrance examination and her first album. As an aunt, I can't help you, I can only look at it and feel distressed. First album, Rao knew that his niece was talented, but Su Rong was still shocked. Both of his family members were only 17 this year, and they were already preparing to release their first album. Dad, Shuang is amazing. We were shocked when we heard the news. Tian Hui looked at Feng Shuang tenderly, as if she had regarded her as his own daughter. Looking at Su Zioxi again, Tian Hui's face turned cold. Unlike Zioxi, she can't do anything, and her grades are simply indescribable. Let her learn from her sister, and she will know how to insert my left ear and right ear out. Su Zioxi sat next to Duruo, feeling on pins and needles as she accepted the sarcasm from her own mother and the gazes of the entire table. She lowered her head and picked at the rice in her mouth, but it was like chewing wax. But Tian Hui didn't feel that there was anything wrong with what she said. She kept mumbling in Su Zioxi's ears, these two children are really in the same world. I asked Shuang to take her. This child has to be stubborn with me all day long. If I don't learn well, I won't even read the things drawn in the book. No, now there is another lawless element in the family. As a mother, I worry all day long that she is a bad example. As for her, she acted like nothing happened. Several mothers around him agreed. The same goes for my family. Zioxi is still young, she will be fine when she grows up. Yes, as a child, he must be ignorant. There are not many children in the world who understand the painstaking efforts of their parents, alas. Have you said enough? Su Zioxi put her chopsticks on the bowl and looked at Tian Hui calmly. It's just that there seems to be no light in those black pupils. At that moment, Tian Hui's heart skipped a beat, but she didn't think much about it. Xiao 11, what's your attitude? Aren't your uncles, aunts, parents, all for you? Oh, I'm full. For her own good, she has heard this sentence so many times that she is tired of it and sickened by it. She looked at the parents who were already on the same front and smiled coldly, you eat, I'll go out for a walk. Auntie, let me go see Xiao 11. She may be in a bad mood, Feng Shuang said sensibly, then got up and chased Su Zioxi. Auntie just said a few more words to you, so there's no need to show off to her, right? Su Zioxi, you're 16 too, can you understand something? My affairs don't require you to be kind. By the artificial lake, the night light shone on Su Zioxi's face, making her face pale. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 23. Chapter 23. People's hearts are biased towards good students. She pinched the flesh of her palms tightly, as if this was the only way she could hold back from hitting Feng Shuang. Feng Shuang, are you very proud that you have taken away my mother's love and my status in this family? In the eyes of everyone now, I am the bad boy who is ignorant and has poor grades. Su Zioxi complained hoarsely. At night by the lake, a chuckle passed clearly into the girl's ears. Feng Shuang walked into Su Zioxi little by little, leaned sideways and whispered in her ear, Su Zioxi, do you know? You really look like me, who I used to be. I desperately wanted to prove my possibility to my parents, but after trying hard for a long time, I turned around and found that in the eyes of my parents, I was still not as good as other children. But fortunately, now, she herself has become someone else's child. That feeling of being looked up to and worshipped by others is so good. Actually, you were supposed to be the princess in this villa, but it's a pity that you didn't live up to your expectations. Suzioxi, if you are too stupid, don't worry about others taking your things. Your mother's love, I've got it, not only that, but also your father's, your grandparents, and even the entire Su family. Feng Shuang's eyes flashed with madness, and the unconcealed desire grew wantonly, which was frightening. Suzioxi's eyes widened in disbelief. You, Feng Shuang, you have no conscience. So what? The most worthless thing in this world is conscience, Suzioxi, believe it or not, if something unexpected happens now, no one will believe that I was the one responsible. In this world, people's hearts are biased towards good students. Even if he is a good student disguised as a good student. Feng Shuang smiled evilly and backed away a little. Behind her was the artificial lake. Ah, Zioxi, no. Feng Shuang, you, Su Zioxi did not expect that Feng Shuang would risk his life just to stimulate herself. The artificial lake in her home is 7 or 8 meters deep. Feng Shuang cannot swim. If no one saves her, she will definitely die. In the hall, people heard calls for help and all rushed into the artificial lake. The people who knew how to swim picked up the phoenixes. The whole process, Su Zioxi stood aside blankly, without any reaction. Until she felt a sharp pain on her face was turned to one side by Tianhui. Mom. Su Zioxi covered her face and looked at Tianhui blankly. Since childhood, no matter what bad things she did, Tianhui never hit her. This was the first time. Is it ironic? This time, it was clearly her who was wronged, but Tianhui beat her. Does it hurt? It hurts, but my heart hurts even more. Su Zioxi thought she would cry, but at this time, she found that she couldn't cry anymore. Tianhui scolded Su Zioxi in front of everyone. Su Zioxi, are you out of your mind? How dare you push your sister? Do you know that Shuang can't swim? Do you also want to spend a few years in jail? How could I give birth to a daughter like you? Noisy. Feng Ling stayed in the corner, waiting for Mr. Feng. Who knew that Mr. Feng didn't wait, but saw such a good show. She stood up, walked to the unconscious Feng Shuang, and patted her face hard twice from behind. Are you dead? Open your eyes. Feng Ling's strength was so great that Feng Shuang's cheeks were left with 5 red fingerprints. With her face burning, Feng Shuang frowned and wanted to slap Feng Ling back. Damn it, she had such a careful plan. Why is Feng Ling here? Why does Feng Ling have to be there? End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 24. Chapter 24. Kindness is a choice. Seeing that her plan was about to be exposed by Feng Ling, Feng Shuang could only pretend to be confused and wake up. What's wrong with me? Auntie, why are you all here? Feng Shuang looked around and felt happy when she saw the red mark on Su Zioxi's cheek. She quickly shed 2 tears and waved her hands in panic. Aunt, this matter has nothing to do with Xiao 11. I accidentally fell in. You don't blame Xiao 11, it's not her fault. Tianhui saw Feng Shuang walking in front of the God of Death shop, and she was still thinking about Su Zioxi. She couldn't help but feel even more distressed, and asked the servant to find a blanket to wrap Feng Shuang. Good boy, Aunt knows everything, don't I told you, go back to your room and take a shower. Auntie will give you an explanation for this matter. Auntie Feng Shuang held Tianhui's hand in both hands, which was soft and waxy. The two of them looked like mother and daughter deeply in love. It's quite eye-searing. Feng Ling raised her eyes and glanced at Su Zioxi, who had been standing by her side without saying a word to defend herself, and said, "She didn't push it?" "What?" I said, "Feng Shuang was not recommended by Su Zioxi. I just sat there and saw." Is believing. Feng Ling pointed to her seat. "That is a position that is equivalent to a visual blind spot. Feng Shuang and Su Zioxi would not be able to spot Feng Ling from their position at night without paying attention. But Feng Ling could clearly see the movements of Feng Shuang and Su Zioxi. The girl's voice sounded particularly cold amidst the chirping of cicadas in the summer night, without any bias, as if she was just stating a fact. Tian Hui looked at Feng Ling mockingly. Didn't she push it, or did both of them jump down by themselves? What qualifications does a murderer have to testify here? She hugged Feng Shuang and said, "Let's go. Su Zioxi, please kneel here and think about your mistakes. Don't get up without my permission." The group of people came and left quickly. No one noticed that Su Zioxi was panicking and tried to go into the water to save Feng Shuang's wet clothes before the large troops arrived. She stood aside, water dripping from her body all over the floor. "This is for you." "What?" Su Zioxi's eyes were silently confused. Feng Ling said, "Recorder. You can give this to your mother to prove your innocence." Su Zioxi held the black recording pen and had a momentary impulse to rush into the room and play it out in front of everyone, but she stopped at the last moment. "It's useless, she won't believe it." She also tried to record music once and succeeded, but... Su Zioxi smiled self-deprecatingly. "Feng Ling, can you teach me someone? Haven't you killed someone before? I want to kill Feng Shuang, no matter what it takes. Can you teach me?" "No." "Why?" Su Zioxi was confused. "As long as I kill Feng Shuang, my mother will still be my mother." "Feng Ling, can you teach me? Please." Su Zioxi held Feng Ling's hand tightly and almost collapsed. Feng Ling's eyes flashed and she looked away from Su Zioxi. "Su Zioxi, murder is against the law. Not everything in this world can be solved by killing people. You are my uncle's daughter. I have to hand you over to my uncle completely." She pinched the girl's shoulders and forced her to look at her. "Su Zioxi, kindness is a choice. I will help you, but you have to promise me not to do stupid things. Otherwise, I have to find a way to recreate you and give it back to your father." Su Zioxi was a little confused. "Why are you doing this?" "Feng Shuang owes me." Feng Ling waved her hand. "Go back and change clothes. Tell me after you have thought about my proposal. If you have anything else to do, go ahead." End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 25. Chapter 25. Shameless. Su Zioxi looked at the girl's thin back, her eyes becoming firmer a little bit. She took the recorder and turned around to leave without the slightest hesitation. When Feng Ling returned to the venue, Feng Kang had already arrived, but who could tell her who the shameless man in a suit and tie next to Feng Kang was? Why did this catfish spirit stick to her grandpa after she was gone for such a short time? "Yeah. Ching," Feng Ling said in a low voice through gritted teeth. Like that, Ye Qinghan might have been burnt right now if he hadn't been in front of Feng Kang. After 3 years, Feng Kang finally saw Feng Ling again. A little liquid overflowed from his dim eyes. He greeted the girl with trembling wrinkled hands. "Ling Ling, my Ling Ling, let grandpa take a look." "I'll settle the score with you later." Feng Ling glared at Ye Qinghan, then squatted down to look at the old man's level. "Grandpa, I'm fine, and my uncle is also very kind to me, but you, why do you look so thin?" Feng Ling put her hand back on the old man's hand, felt his pulse without any trace, and her heart sank. Judging from the old man's pulse, Feng Kang only has 3 months left at most. Surgery is imminent. Ye Qinghan stood nearby and touched her nose innocently. The little girl was really grumpy. Feng Ling and Feng Kang talked for a long time before they walked to the dining table and prepared to sit down. Yeking Han smoothly pulled open the chair beside Feng Ling. The moment he sat down, a long and thin leg stepped on the chair. Yeking Han looked at Feng Ling. Feng Ling, didn't teacher Ye say there are still meetings at school? It's time for you to go to the meeting. Yeking Han was silent. Why didn't he remember any meetings at school? He raised his hand and adjusted his glasses. I just sent out a notice saying that the meeting has been rescheduled, so I can continue. Continue. Home. Visit. Feng Ling, you are the teacher, you are the best. Grass. Who is that person? Tian Hui helped Feng Shuang change her clothes and went downstairs. From a distance, she saw a strange man sitting next to Feng Ling. He was not on the list of wealthy families invited today. Feng Shuang said, he is the math teacher in my sister's class. I heard he is the most handsome male teacher in our school. Most handsome? Not just a poor man whose monthly salary is less than 10,000 yuan? Tian Hui sneered disdainfully, it's really shameless. In order to find a relationship, I even flirted with the teacher in my own class. Tian Hui left Feng Shuang behind and rushed towards Feng Ling and Yeking Han. Feng Shuang stood on the attic, slightly curling her lips. Is this the math teacher of this little murderer? Tian Hui stood in front of Yeking Han, her tone was arrogant, and she looked like a master. Unknown to everyone, the man opposite didn't even raise his head, concentrating on peeling shrimps for the little woman next to him. There is nothing I can do, I made the little girl angry today, I have to coax her, otherwise how can I find any trace of the change? Yeking Han sighed slightly, and then continued to work hard to peel the shrimp in his hand. Seeing that Yeking Han ignored her, Tian Hui thought Yeking Han didn't hear her, so she repeated it again, but the man still didn't respond. After being the mistress of the Su family for so many years, Tian Hui has never been ignored like this. She turned blue with anger, who do I think I am? It turns out to be the teacher of a murderer. His quality is so poor. No wonder he can only teach a group of students scum. Who are you? Yeking Han finished peeling the last shrimp, put them intact on Feng Ling's plate, poured the mixed vinegar, and wiped his hands elegantly with a wet towel. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 26. Chapter 26. How much is your Su family's property worth? For a moment, Tian Hui felt that the man in front of her was from a noble family. However, it was only for a moment. How could a noble young master lower his status to teach in a school? Tian Hui subconsciously rejected this idea. She looked at Su Ming, full of disapproval. Why do you let such a person come to the dinner table? How do you explain it if our parents see it? Teacher Ye is here for a home visit, why can't he come on stage? Su Ming frowned. Besides, Feng Kang is the biggest at this table, and Feng Kang agreed. What does he, a junior, say? Su Ming shook his head, feeling that Tian Hui was really getting more and more unreasonable. As if her nerves were stimulated, Tian Hui grabbed the chopsticks in Su Ming's hand and threw them to the side. Home visit? Which teacher would specially choose this time to come for a home visit? I think he is just greedy for our Su family's money. Your surname is Ye, right? Let me tell you, this murderer's surname is Feng, and he has nothing to do with our Su family. If he wants the property of our Su family, don't even think about it. How much is your Su family's property worth? Wen Xiao received the urgent instruction from the Ye family and hurried in when he heard Tian Hui's words. He was really angry and left. In the eyes of the Ye family, this little money from the Su family was no more than a fingernail. This woman actually wanted to use the little money in her hand to hit the young master of the Ye family in the face. It's simply ungrateful. Wen Xiao threw the briefcase in front of Tianhui. If I understand correctly, everything the Su family owns now is given by the Feng family. They eat other people's things, use other people's money, and give back a piece of the Su family's property. This aunt, don't you feel embarrassed? The Su family was originally a run-down household. After the Feng family and his wife died, the Feng family property was transferred to the Su family and they were asked to take care of their 2 children. This allowed the Su family to develop step by step. Everyone knew something about this matter, but they had never exposed it. Now that Wen Xiao suddenly exposed it, Tianhui looked very unhappy. Sir, my parents transferred the Feng family's property to the Su family because they wanted the Su family to raise me. Whether you regard this as family affection or a transaction, at the very least, it is a transaction between you and me. My uncle and aunt have taken good care of me over the years. So you have no reason to say these things from God's perspective. After all, that money belongs to my parents, doesn't it? Feng Ling sat bored in a chair, playing the game with her head down. She had already reached the last boss level. After hearing Feng Shuang's words, she silently stopped the game in her hand. He raised his head and glanced at Feng Shuang. If she remembers correctly, Feng Tian's transactions were all losses. In addition, Feng Tian loves gambling, so the Feng family's bottom line has been emptied by Feng Tianle. After she was arrested and sent to prison, a bank card that she was going to transfer to the institute the next day suddenly disappeared. Later, her people investigated and found that all the money inside had been transferred to the Su family, a total of 500 million. There wasn't much, so she didn't care. Now it seems that money was considered to be Feng Tian's and the others. Feng Ling sneered. Tianhui stood up in excitement. What are you laughing at? That prodigal Feng Tian, do you think he can leave a fortune of 500 million? I should have known the password set for that bank card back then. The provincial one is now released to protect herself. If it's not theirs, it could still be yours. Tianhui simply didn't believe that Feng Ling had so much money. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 27. Chapter 27. The largest shareholder of the Su family. Feng Ling nodded, quite sincerely, yes, it's mine. Feng Shuang couldn't help laughing. She said slowly, Sister, I know you are afraid that your parents will leave their inheritance to me, so that's why you said this, but these money are indeed hard earned by your parents, right? It's not that. Feng Shuang looks down on Feng Ling. Feng Ling used to not take exams and wander around all day long. If it hadn't been like this, her parents wouldn't have lost confidence in her. Can she earn 500 million? Where's the ghost letter? Obviously, not only Feng Shuang thought so, but no one else present believed it either. Feng Ling sighed in distress. Alas, this world is so strange, no one always believes it when the truth is told. She waved her hand and said, I don't expect them to leave any legacy. If you want that legacy, just take it. What Feng Tian left behind is not an inheritance. It is clearly a pile of debts and a shell company. What is a hot potato in the eyes of others is too late to throw away. It's just Feng Shuang's brainless desire. As for the original money, although the card had no pin, it was her name written on it. Feng Shuang wanted the money on that card, it was just a daydream. Tianhui has always disliked Feng Ling's attitude of clearly being nothing but always treating herself as a boss. She pulled Feng Shuang over and yelled at Su Ming, look, this is the murderer you want to keep in my house. Every lie she tells is true. Sooner or later, Zioxi will be led astray. She didn't lie. Su Ming's eyes were cold. He looked at the person next to him who had become unkind at some point and said word by word, in these years, without Feng Ling's support, the Su family has developed not to this point. We welcome her with brilliance, not with her phoenix. You can let her go, everything you have now will be hers. Because she holds 50% of the shares of the Su family. Not only that, he forced Feng Ling to own the 50% stake. With Feng Ling's original investment, she should own 80% of the entire Su family. Is the largest shareholder of the Su family. Su Ming's words were like thunder on the ground, exploding throughout the Su family. The two elders of the Su family couldn't help but help each other and walked over. Su Ming, do you know what you are talking about? Su Rong's old hands trembled slightly. That's 50% of the shares, I'll give it to you no matter what you say. Still give it to such a worthless thing. Su Rong covered his heart and was so angry that he couldn't breathe. So what if Feng Ling invests? What does she know? That 500 million yuan was probably given to her by the Feng family and his wife. A little girl who doesn't know anything holds 50% of the Su family's shares. She will be laughed at if she lets it out. Dad, Lingling is not as bad as you think, she. No matter what, I am the largest shareholder of your Su family now, so I advise you to be calm and don't make me angry. Otherwise, if I accidentally sell this share to someone else, it will be hard to explain. Feng Ling smiled with a dangerous tone. Su Rong pointed at her, his lips turned white. Rebellious girl. Rebellious girl. The Su family, why did they provoke such a devil? Not only did his daughter die, but now he wanted to harm his entire Su family. Feng Ling was not angry, she calmly picked up a wet wipe and wiped her mouth, then gave Feng Kang the medicine box she prepared early in the morning. Grandpa, I asked a good friend for this. You can take one in the morning and one in the evening every day. Vow, do the surgery again after half a month, and the risk of the surgery will be reduced a lot by then. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 28. Chapter 28, 3 years no see, you are getting old. There's no need for you to be so kind, who knows if there's anything harmful in this medicine. Feng Yuan is Feng Kang's youngest daughter. She is only 28 years old this year. She has been with the old man and has not yet married. In her heart, Feng Ling was the culprit who killed her brother. She would never let this murderer kill her grandfather again. She stretched out her hand to grab the box in Feng Ling's hand, but Feng Ling dodged it unexpectedly. Feng Yuan shouted angrily, how dare you hide? Feng Ling put the box in Feng Kang's pocket. It was neither big nor small, just right. Then she raised her eyes and said, I respect you as my grandfather's youngest daughter and don't care about you. Don't bother with this medicine. You can't afford it? Feng Yuan laughed angrily, maybe something was added to this broken medicine? Our Feng family has a big business, so losing 100 boxes of your medicine is nothing. Wen Xiao was watching the excitement and couldn't help laughing when he heard Feng Jiayuan's words about the greatness of the family's business. The Feng family has so little wealth that it can't be used in the capital, yet they dare to claim that their family has a great business. It's simply shameless. Ye Qinghan glanced at Wang Xiao coolly. This guy has become more and more aggressive recently. Feng Ling was too lazy to talk to Feng Yuan. She looked at the old man in front of her seriously and said slowly, Grandpa, you must remember to take this medicine, promise me. Good. Dad, Feng Yuan was shocked. Is her father having a mental disorder? Agree to that girl's request? Who is responsible if something goes wrong while eating? Okay, what's the fuss about? It's me who eats it, not you. Do you really think that an old man like me doesn't know about the roundworms in your stomach? Don't worry, even if I die, it has nothing to do with you. He gave birth to a son and a daughter in his life, but none of them were promising. In the entire Feng family, the only one who cares about him is this girl. Feng Kang turned his neck with difficulty. Due to age and illness, his movements were getting slower and slower. He knew that his end was approaching, and the only person he could not part with was a granddaughter like Feng Ling. Lingling, Go home and live with grandpa. Grandpa will take care of you. No, you can take good care of yourself. It will be a long time ahead. Feng Ling knelt down and wiped the tears from the corners of the old man's eyes. I will take time to see you every day. You can take medicine at home and recover well. Wait. Surgery. Grandpa, I haven't seen you for 3 years. You are getting old. Feng Ling felt sour in her heart, but she didn't express it. After 3 years, it has been difficult for her to express some emotions on her face. She stood up and pushed Feng Kang's wheelchair in front of Feng Yuan. It's getting late, let Grandpa go back. You are his daughter, take good care of him. You don't need to worry. Feng Yuan choked her and left with the others. The surrounding guests knew that the Feng family had to deal with family matters and left one after another. For them, knowing that half of the Su family's shares were in Feng Ling's hands, the trip was already worth it. It is uncertain how the power in Luo City will change in the future. Feng Shuang stood beside Tianhui. The jealousy in her heart had turned into a big ocean. 50% of the shares, Su Ming actually gave Feng Ling 50% of the shares. Why? She studied so hard because she wanted to be the pride of the Su family, to truly become a member of the Su family and get some property in the end. But what about Feng Ling? She didn't do anything. She only used the 500 million her parents gave her to get 50% of the Su family's shares. Why? Feng Shuang bit the tender flesh in her lips. In the past, she was jealous of her parents for not caring about Feng Ling, but she always thought that her parents were strict with her because they loved her more. But it wasn't until today that she discovered no. That's not the case at all. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 29. Chapter 29. She is quite restrained in this game. If you love her, why did you secretly give 500 million to Feng Ling? Feng Shuang was mad with jealousy. She stared at Feng Ling as if she were staring at a 500 million treasure. Sister, my parents originally intended for us sisters to share the 500 million equally. How can you take it all to yourself? It's not easy for my uncle to support the Su family. Sister, you don't know anything, so it's better not to get involved. Why don't you give me 25% of the shares? I'm still young, and the shares will be kept by my aunt. This can also avoid some gossip. What do you think? Feng Shuang feels that she is quite considerate. She smiled, feeling that it was impossible for Feng Ling to disagree. After all, the 500 million was originally supposed to be hers, but now, she only wanted half of it, so Feng Ling had no reason not to agree. Tianhui nodded hurriedly. That's right, you can transfer these 25% shares to me now. What does a child know? This share is not safe at all in your hands. It seems you know a lot about it, Feng Ling sneered. With several people watching, she slowly stretched out and said, 1% of the shares are worth 200 million. If you want to buy it, I can ask lawyer Wen to sell it to you now as a witness. 200 million, Tianhui took a breath. Feng Ling, are you trying to steal the money? Obviously she only invested 500 million. Now 1% of the shares costs 200 million. Feng Shuang did not expect Feng Ling to be so shameless. She bit her lower lip and looked like she was crying, which was heartbreaking. Sister, 50% of the shares are obviously only 500 million, how can you raise the price now? She can't even afford 500 million. The price Feng Ling has set now, let alone 25%, is hard for her to come up with even 1%. Quadrikill, the sound of quadrikill suddenly came out from the hand, attracting everyone's attention. Just then I discovered that Feng Ling had been playing games just now. Oh, 4 kills. Fen Ling looked at the wailing on the opposite side and was quite calm. She was quite restrained in this game. She only used a small nanny. After half an hour, she only got 10 heads. She didn't quite understand what they were talking about. Are the psychological quality of people playing games so weak nowadays? Fen Ling frowned in confusion. She lowered her head and typed a line, throwing out the question. Then the world became quiet. A little wet nurse took 10 heads and asked them why they screamed so miserably. Is this their fault? Yes, they are not worthy of playing games with great gods. 5 seconds later, the other side surrendered, and the nanny was MVP. Fen Ling. What's wrong with today's children? Surrender so easily? The state educates young people that they should not shrink back when encountering difficulties. Is the principle taken into the stomach and pulled out along the rectum? Fen Ling closed the game, threw her phone into her bag, and when she looked up at Feng Shuangshuang and Tian Hui, she suddenly realized that there really were brainless people in this world. She looked at Feng Shuangshuang and Tian Hui with pity. Brain is a good thing, but it's a pity that you don't have it. What do you mean? Her grades in school have always been among the top 3. Why should Fen Ling, a scumbag like her, say that her grades are poor? The Su family 3 years ago is different from the Su family 3 years later. Similarly, from 500 million 3 years ago to now, the market value has far exceeded 500 million, and has even increased tenfold. Feng Shuangshuang, I can teach you if you don't understand the market, but you don't have to show off. Fen Ling pointed to her brain, then shook her head regretfully. Forget it, you don't. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 30. Chapter 30. This is a disease, it needs to be cured. Okay, don't argue anymore. Fen Ling is under 18 and doesn't have the ability to control the shares of the Su family. Su Ming, you go and do it now and transfer 50% of the shares to you and Tian Hui. Although Hui doesn't do anything, she is still a member of our Su family. This matter has been decided. You go and do it now. Su Rong was in control of the entire situation with his own righteousness. In his heart, Fen Ling is just a little girl. As the old head of the Su family, Fen Ling must not go against his wishes. She should obediently hand over their Su family's shares. Fen Ling thinks there is something wrong with the Su family's genes, so they raised such a group of guys without brain cells. Oh, Su Ming and Su Zioxi may have had a genetic mutation midway through. Didn't Su Ming tell you? What? Fen Ling pointed at herself. I am currently the largest controlling shareholder of the Su family. The entire Su family is under my orders. Who are you? Why should I give you money for no reason? It was Su Ming who personally thrust the Su family into her hands in the first place. In the past 3 years, she wasted her time to be Su's midbrain and developed the Su family to this point. Now she wants to take back the already developed Su family with just one sentence. Playing with her. Fen Ling's tone was a little bad. She hated people who robbed her things for no reason. Although Su's was to her, it was just something that she moved her fingernails to develop. It's nothing valuable either. But she couldn't stand being poor. Those old guys knew how to put money into her pocket every day. How could she let anyone take out her pocket money when she already had only pocket money left in her pocket? Fen Ling covered her bag with a serious expression. Su Ming is now a stranger. His father has been stubborn all his life and will never bow to Fen Ling. However, the Su family cannot afford to offend the big boss. Su Ming, who received the gazes from both sides, silently looked at the durians on one side. He knelt down to see if he could offset this. Dad, the Su family has developed so far thanks to Fen Ling. We must not be ungrateful. What can she do? Does she understand business matters? In short, this matter must be done. If you don't do it, I will do it. Su Rong was furious. Fen Ling raised her eyebrows. Hey, I can't move my mouth. Are you ready to take action? Fen Ling looked at Su Ming, her face was not warm, and her fingers kept tapping the table. People who are familiar with her will know that the boss is in a bad mood now. When she was in the alliance, she was the only one who ordered others, and never was ordered by others. Okay, I'll divest. What? Feng Shuang, Tian Hui and Su Rong's eyes lit up, and they said as if they were afraid that Fen Ling would regret it, you can't regret it. Ling Ling, Su Ming felt a little heartbroken. Fen Ling lowered her head and clicked her phone a few times, then said slowly, I hope you won't regret it. Don't worry, sister, my uncle and aunt will take good control of these 50% shares. The Su family is so powerful, it will definitely become more and more prosperous. Feng Shuang said sensible. Fen Ling took a deep look at her and smiled, which was quite meaningful. Let's go, teacher yet. Send it to me, Ye King Han said shamelessly. Fen Ling felt that this man was really jumping on her radar every day. In the past, someone as shameless as Ye Qing who wanted to control her would have been thrown to travel around the Arctic Circle. She threw up her backpack and strode towards the front door of Su's house, with no intention of waiting for Ye King Han. The man was not angry either. He narrowed his eyes and smiled happily. Seems to enjoy being treated like this. Wen Xiao followed, wondering when Ye King Han had become more masochistic. This is a disease and must be cured. End of this chapter.